my felt flower video course. In this course, you will learn how to make felt flowers like these, which are used as decorations around 3D felt houses, like this, for your children's play mats. As always, I recommend that you watch my 3D felt crafting resource video first, which is listed below, before you carry on with these felt flower training videos, if you have not watched it already. So without any further ado, let's begin. Today I want to show you how to make little flowers. I'm going to show you some examples that I've made. These are for my girls' play mat, just to decorate the mat around the little houses that I've made for them, the other objects. So these are just examples. All different shapes and colors, and the kids really enjoy playing with them. So there's quite a few. I'm just gonna put them on the mat in front of me and you can look at them while I talk. Pull it a little bit back so that you can see it better. There you go. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to make one, and I really hope that it's going to be fun for you. So the first step is to look for flower shapes. So what I did is I went onto Google. I'm just going to move them, make some space. I went on Google and I googled flower clip art, black and white. And I'm going to show you what I did. Took one pattern or one little picture and I printed it out in different sizes. And then obviously I cut it out. Now this is on paper, so this is now my little pattern. But like I said, it's the same flower in different sizes. There's also 3 of them, different sizes. Yeah, like I said, I've got a few of them, 4 petal, 5 petal flowers and so forth. So I think that would be step 1. If you can draw it nicely, you can design your own little pattern. And I keep it together with a paper clip, just to make sure that I do not lose the smaller pieces, and to keep them together so I know which belongs to each other, like small sets. Maybe we should make a flower like this one for this video, something like that. I'm not going to do the inside. This is just, let me turn it like that. This is just the shape. So we're going to make the big one in a bright orange and the smaller one in white, and then I'm going to put something different on it. The small one I'm going to do on blue, and like you can see, this is off-cut pieces, so your off-cut felt is perfect for this. Right, so the first step that we're going to do is I have to draw this little pattern onto my felt, and you literally put the pattern on the felt material, use your tailor's pen and draw it on the material. Just make sure that it doesn't move the paper. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to cut it out. Alright, there is the first layer. I'm going to cut it in duplicate, in other words 2 layers, and this is going to my offcut bin, because I do not have a lot of this orange left and I can always use it for something small. Let's take an example, something like small flower on top, or the little circle there in the middle below the button. So I'm not throwing it away, it's going to the offcut bin. But now I need another one of this. And now you don't have to use your paper pattern again to draw it onto the material. I simply put the felt on the other layer and then I cut all along the edges, because the felt it doesn't move that much. And then also you know that your 2 layers are exactly the same. I'm just going to make sure that the 2 layers are shaped exactly the same. Alright, so when you do this, don't be hasty, take your time, use small little snips. There we go. Yeah, it's now 2 layers and it is cut exactly the same. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to carry on and I'm going to do it for the white layer, which is the same flower. It's just a little bit smaller. So let me do that quickly. Right, there is the white one finished. Now I'm going to do the blue one. Right. So now we've got 3 different flower sizes, but the same shape. And they're not paper anymore, they're now felt. So what we have to do now is we have to decorate them. Okay, let's start with a small one. And let's use pink thread. Just going to put a small blob of glue just to keep it nicely in place so that you can work much easier. Alright, let's start with my blue little flower. I'm going to work from the top for now, and I think we're going to use split stitch. It's a simple split stitch. I've just worked all along the edges. You will find when you do work on these small pieces that it is sometimes a bit challenging because it is difficult to handle the material. It's always easier to do embroidery kind of work or stitches on a embroidery ring, those wooden rings. That is much simpler. But to get these small little things done and you get it done nice and neat, it is quite satisfying. Or for me, it is very satisfying. Alright, so that's the first little layer that we've done. And remember, this is also in duplicate. It is 2 layers on top of each other. Alright, on this little blue flower, I am going to put a yellow button. Right, there's my little button. Now on the white flower, that's the medium size one, I am just going to put a running stitch all around. Let me find an example of one. Something like that. Just a running stitch. But before I do that, I am just going to put a little blob of glue to keep them nicely in place so that they don't move around. Then it's much easier to do some neat stitching. So let me just right, so let's start the stitching. Let me just show you. There are the first few stitches. I'm just going to carry on all the way around it. Right, and there we have done the border for the medium size flower. So let's see what it's going to look like so far. Right, now we have to do something with the biggest flower. That will be the lowest level of the flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a basic blanket stitch all around it. Let me get an example, then I can show you. Like this blue stitch all around the edges. That is what I'm going to do now with the orange one. Alright, so now the orange flower has its border as well, and now it is nice and strong. It should last quite a while for the kids to play with it. And we're just going to put this on top just to see, to get a feel of what this little flower is going to look like. Alright, now the next step is to start assembling this little flower. So I am going to start by putting the blue on top of the white. So I'm going to put a blob of glue. I must just now remember how it must come on the white one. A blob of glue in the middle. Not too much. And then I'm going to put the little blue one on top. I'm going to make sure that it is aligned nicely. Alright, so now we have glued the blue flower onto the white flower. So I want to add a little bit more detail. So what I'm going to do,